Hello world, Dorothy Dottie or Dot. I'm exhausted. I guess I'm just doing another update video for people that have been following along, um, and anybody that may be new. Hi, homeless caregiver. Doing my best to survive. I got my mom still here. Hi. That's it. Okay. Well, I've been doing everything I know to do. I do DoorDash, and it's a lovely app. I really love it because it never freezes with the map. The map never freezes and tells me where to go and thinks I'm still sitting in the same spot. It's fine. The app has been giving me a hard time. It's been saying that I'm not moving anywhere when I'm clearly on the road. But whatever, you know, can't even do a simple job like that without any issues. Oh well, right? Oh well. But I think I've said before that I want to start. I actually want to start telling um, my testimony, because it kind of ties in with everything that's going on now. Like, some people might be wondering, why am I doing this by myself? It has to do with, my family, has to do with my background. I'd love to have help. I'd love to just go up to any family member of mine and say, hey, can I have help? But my family knows, my blood relative family members know what's going on, and they either can't help me or just don't. It's a long story. So to tell long stories of why I can't get help with from my family members, it's a long story. So I have to explain all that. And there's some other things that I want to explain because I see a lot of things going on in the world, and there's some things that I need to kind of speak out about because of the way that I grew up and everything. But basically, just to give a little preview before I start telling more of my, because I'm thinking about doing like how I told my caregiver story of how we became homeless moms. Basically, another, I'll be making another kind of like series like I did with the caregiver story, with her, like 10-minute chapter chunks basically of my story now, because that was mostly mom's story that I was just telling, I mean, from my perspective. But a little preview about my what how my life went kind of starts with my granny almost, because I grew up, my granny telling me stories about her life when she was younger. And just from the get go, I come from a family that has a lot of history of like abuse in it. And I mean, a lot of families do. So maybe that's why God has me on here saying these things, just so other people can, I guess, relate and whatever, get through what they're going through, because I'm going through it too. But yeah, I grew up. See, there's one of the things that I see on social media a lot, and the things that I see in the world. I see a lot of men getting, you know, men are looked at as a certain way. They're either looked at as evil, or dumb, or I don't see a lot of like positivity shown towards men nowadays. And I understand why, and I understand why a lot of women try to, blame everything on men and things like that. Like why there's this dynamic of men and women. Like I understand. I understand why. I feel bad for the way that it is. I hate the way that it is now. But I grew up with my granny telling me stories about her husband, in the, 60s era, 60s, 70s. My grandmother, my real grandfather Hopkins, unfortunately, he was an alcoholic back in those days, and he was kind of a racist back then too. Uh, like my mom can testify that he definitely had his past. He was angry at whatever reason and took it out on my grandmother. My grandmother, I remember stories her telling me about my grandpa beating her, different things he would do to hurt her, hit her, you know, different things. A lot of stories that I could tell, but don't have a lot of time on here. But she told me so many abusive stories about when she was married to my grandpa, and 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 I know about her. She didn't tell me the stories of her own mother, but my great granny was a terrible mother to my granny. And doesn't surprise me because my mom has stories about how when she was growing up, my great granny not only, beat her own daughter, my granny, when she was a little girl, but she would beat my own mother when she was a little girl. My great granny would beat my mom. All the stories from just angry women, very angry women that just kept beating their daughters. Now, not all of their daughters. My great granny did not apparently um, beat on so much my granny's older sister or one of her sons, but took out most of her aggression on my granny and I think her little sister and brother. At least that's the stories that I was told growing up. And then growing up with my mom telling me all the stories about how she was, you know, beat by her own mother from frustrations of being beaten all the time from her own husband and mother. And while my grandpa was not abusive to my mother, she did describe to me one time when my mom was just a little bit older and my grandfather was drunk, thought that, you know, my mom looked like her mother, so beat her for that. I come from a family of a lot of beatings. A lot of beatings.
I didn't beat you.
Now, my mother was a wonderful mother. My mom did discipline me and my brother, but she broke the chain of abuse. My mother never beat me or my brother to the degree that of the stories that I've heard of how she would get beat all the time, along with my granny. But my mom did break that chain of abuse. While she was abused and my grandmother was abused, and the whole line of family just abuse in there. Selective abuse, I should say. But my mom did break that chain. And she still disciplined us, but she did break the chain. I'm grateful for that. But there's a lot to everything else. And since I'm running out of time, I will make another chapter probably in a day or two, continuing on my testimony, basically of how me and my brother came about. So a lot of my testimony involves my mom's testimony, so I'll be telling a little bit more about my mom next chapter. So this is beginning of a new series, my testimony.